It's supposed to feel.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the North Shore 9 Postgame Show. I am Jim. With me is Doug. Doug, how you doing on this fine Sunday afternoon following a Pirates victory?
Oh, I'm excellent. I'm excellent. Thank you. That nice win, a little dodgy at points, but surprising. Kind of went off script. I saw Colin Selby as the opener, and I thought we're going to be down 3-0.
Yeah.
Going into the second inning, he was outstanding.
Yeah, it was an entertaining game. Let's just hop right in, right? Why don't we? So Colin Selby, he is announced as the opener today. What we've seen out of Selby for the little that we've seen of him in the majors is he's inconsistent. Let's just say that he either
of inconsistent, right?
Yeah, like he's putting together really good outings, but then also putting together some really dreadful outings. Today, though, a good one.
Right, he's either unhittable or he gives up 4 runs, and he doesn't give up a run. Right, he either retires 7, 8 in a row, or gives up. And he was outstanding. He looked terrific. And you see him and you're like, oh, now I see how he got, put on the 40-man and protected from Rule 5. Oh, now I see how they can view him as somebody for next year. And then we'll watch his next outing and he'll give up 4 runs. He won't throw a strike. And, you have no control. And you're wondering, how did this guy advance past AAA? Let alone,
Yeah, the command is very inconsistent, but it was on today. I want to stress that when you're going to use an opener, like this, it's really nice to be able to get on the other side of a team's best hitters, which is basically what you're doing is you're getting on the other side of the team's best hitters for your bulk guy, so that he doesn't face those really good hitters 3 times, right? That's kind of the goal of all of this. And Colin Selby today, he starts off, gets DJ LeMahieu to ground out, gets Aaron Judge to ground out. He walks Gleyber Torres, but then gets Giancarlo Stanton to fly out. So like getting through those 4 guys with a 0 on the board, I mean, that's a win, right? And then on top of that, he pitches a second inning as well, gets a 1-2-3 second inning, very efficient second inning. Yeah, he was outstanding today. A really good series for Colin Selby. If you recall, Friday he pitched a scoreless inning and struck out 2 batters. That was a big moment there for him too, because the Pirates were winning the game at that point. Right. So yeah, really strong series for Colin Selby against the New York Yankees, who aren't who we are used to the Yankees being, but hey, it's still the Yankees. It's nice to win against the Yankees.
That's still Aaron Judge, the reigning MVP, right? That's still DJ LeMahieu, a guy who's won batting titles, and Giancarlo Stanton. Right, he might not be a good hitter anymore. He's still dangerous, right? I mean, the guy's, Anthony Volpe, 21 home runs now. Stanton's got 24. You're right. They're not the first place Yankees that we're accustomed to seeing or battling, but that's a lineup that you cannot ignore. You just can't think, all right, we're gonna throw out anybody and just cruise through this without any problem. So they did that's a solid lineup. And you get outs against that lineup, and you deserve your flowers.
Yep. On the other side of the ball, so Selby gets those 2 scoreless innings, under his belt. The Pirates during those 2 innings, not much happening. Carlos Rodon getting the start for the Yankees tonight. He has been, it hasn't been the year Carlos Rodon was probably hoping, and probably Yankees fans were hoping to get out of him. This was just his 12th game of the season. He's been injured and very ineffective in the games that he has played. Today was a different story. He was pretty effective today. Those first 2 innings, 2 perfect innings. And what was weird is, I mean, if you recall from last night's postgame show, the Pirates didn't get a base runner the final 21 outs of yesterday's game. The Yankees retired 27 Pirates in a row.
Yeah.
Between last night and today. So they pitched a perfect game.
They had a perfect game, right?
with between the two games. So, but we head to the third, and the Pirates finally get on base. Jared Triolo, who is funny, if you're in the Discord, I literally typed right before Jared Triolo was batting. I was like, Jared Triolo get an extra base hit challenge? Impossible. What does he do? He drills one off the right center field gap, the wall in the right center field gap. And then he later scores on a Lee over Piguero RBI single. So the Pirates take the lead 1-0 in the third. I want to talk about Triolo a little bit too, because not only did he double there in the third, but he also doubled in the seventh. So and played a really, really nice first base. He made a really good pick on a ground ball that Alika Williams made a really nice play on too.
Right.
Let's spend some time talking about Triolo, because I think up to this point, a lot of us have been impressed with his glove and his versatility, but the bat there was just no power there at all. And how useful can you be as a corner infielder who can play second base and shortstop, as well, but like can't really hit anything other than a single. So it just,
and they're
but
not
today,
even hard hit singles. It's like,
no,
it's little bloop singles over the second baseman's head. That's runners don't score from second on his singles, So.
Yeah. So, I mean, Jared Triolo, just, to kind of, rip this off, 287 slugging percentage going into today's game. His two doubles today got that up to 309. Still not really where you want it to be, but it is over 300 finally. But what are your thoughts just on Triolo? And I mean, he had an injury to begin the year, and it was a handmade injury, which is going to zap your power anyways. But he really never showed a lot of power throughout the minors either. Is this kind of who he is, or can we expect more from Jared Triolo next year?
I really like him, and I want to like him more, right? Because you see, it's there. It looked, I mean, that frame should be able to generate some power. He's not this skinny, scrawny, short little guy. He's a big dude, and he has a good approach. He has good at bats. I mean, I if you got a guy on third, right? You guys, I mean, he's been good with runners in scoring position. While they have not been lasers, he gets guys, he moves guys over, he gets them in. He fields, I mean, he's a terrific fielder. That was his second major league game at first base. And again, like I said, he's got the defense gene. I mean, I feel like if we put him in center field, he would have caught that ball in center field in the ninth inning. Yeah. Right? He just can make good defensive plays. It's inherent. So yes, I would love to see more of him. I mean, obviously he has to develop a little pop. I don't care if he becomes a home run guy. If he just could become what we want Hayes, to become originally, it's just, give me 35, 40 doubles, right? Give me 10 home runs, 13 home runs, right? I don't need 50 home runs. I don't know if that's in there. I don't know if he can, and if there's anyone that can untap that. But I mean, my dream scenario, and this is just based on how we operate, I would love to see him take over first base. I value defense at first base. I think we've seen this year with the decent, and not just making the fielding play, but it's getting those throws, saving those fielders, throw even Carlos Santana, how every time he threw the ball to the pitcher, the guy covering, it was a beautiful, perfect feed. That little stuff, it's stuff that doesn't necessarily show up in box score, but it's important. And I think Triolo could do that, but he has to hit, and he's shown no ability. I mean, today was great. He crushed 2 doubles. They were not cheapies. And so you like to think it's there. Of course, you can't make any judgments on, 2 at-bats in a September game. But I hope that he could, if nothing else, just be a super utility player, because he can play all 4 infield positions, and he takes a good at bat. If he could develop a little pop, he could contribute to this team on a significant level.
Yeah, I I'll agree and disagree with you there a little bit. I think I'd be pretty happy if Triolo could just end up, putting together a 700 OPS type season. Like if he can just do that, because I'm not expecting Jared Triolo to be anything more than a utility infielder that you can move around, give people days off, maybe use him as a defensive replacement if you have to. I'm not looking at Triolo being an everyday guy. Now, yeah, if the bat ends up being better, then sure, but I just don't see that type of potential in him. But I think there is enough there that he can at least be like a below average hitter with the ability to play really good defense in multiple positions. And then that right there will make him a pretty useful and valuable member of a future Pirates team. But as I said, right now, he's not quite there, but you can see the kind of impact that he makes to a game just from today. 2 for 3, 2 doubles. He scores 2 runs. He was the best player today on the Pirates. Like,
he's the player of the game. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're probably right. You're probably right. His ceiling is probably that. But I mean, again, like I said, it seems like there's more in there. It might be way deep down. On a team with Brian Hayes and his delicate back and injury history, you want to give him rest, if nothing else. I mean, say he stays healthy all season, you still probably only want him playing 145 games. And so if you can plug in Jared Triolo, certainly, hopefully there's a drop off offensively, based on what Hayes has been doing. But right, you've got a Gold Glove caliber. He's Brian Hayes, nobody is. But he is as good as you're going to be able to get over there. And then, like I said, he can feel, I'd feel comfortable with him backing up second and first and all. And we haven't seen him play shortstop, but I have no doubt that he could. And I think he can play. I know he's played some outfield. So, right, considering some of the guys we keep on the roster, I would much prefer Jared Triolo. Who knows? Maybe we can unlock it. Just like you said, 700 OPS, get him up to 725, and you really got something.
Absolutely. Speaking of another guy who maybe you're looking to roster in the future, the other difference maker today, Miguel Andújar, off of his former team in the 4th inning, hits a homer, bounces off the right field foul pole. That gives the Pirates a 2-0 lead. Doug, I'm not a Miguel Andújar believer. It's impressive what he did in AAA this year, but at the same time, he also hasn't really looked that bad in his limited, kind of time back up here. Just to kind of reel off some numbers here, he's on a 6-game hitting streak now. He's slugging. Miguel Andújar is now slugging 500. He's got a 794 OPS. Doug, is Miguel Andújar going to be on this roster again next year?
It's hard to say. It's the Andrew McCutchen problem. It seems that McCutchen is going to be on this roster next year. We all want Kutch on this roster. And the only thing he can probably do is DH. Right? Now, Henry Davis is going to be on this roster this year or next year, right? He can only DH or play right field. How do you use Andújar? I wouldn't be against Andújar being on the roster if there was somewhere for him to play and get at bats. But there just isn't. Given how poorly Henry Davis has performed, if he started next year at AAA just to get his confidence back or something, I wouldn't be against that, but I don't think they'll do that, and I don't really think it makes sense. Unless McCutchen's rehabilitation doesn't go well, I just can't see it. It looks like he might have, he might be a little for real, right? It looks like maybe he's healthy, maybe he's got it back. I'm not expecting his rookie year, but again, he looks like he could be a slightly above average hitter, something we're always desperate need of. This current version of Miguel Andújar, if he was batting 7th in our lineup right now, I would take that all day long. But you would prefer to see it at DH. And he's a right-handed hitting DH. Henry Davis is a right-handed hitting outfielder DH. Andrew McCutchen is a right. I don't see how it happens. I am sort of buying into it a little. I don't see how it works without us being really disappointed, in some other roster move, right? And then we're just going to resent Andújar, for that.
Yeah. It's impressive what he's done in AAA this year. Like he's been a really good AAA hitter. And what he's doing currently in the majors, like it makes you think that maybe he's not like completely hopeless up here. Like there might be something there that he could turn into, a future major league career. But you know what? I'm with you, Doug. I think if there is going to be a future major league career for Miguel Andújar, like it's just not the Pirates. It just doesn't really. I don't think there's a fit. Like there's nowhere really.
Where can you put him? Right. Where can you put him without breaking the fan base's heart? And giving up on a top prospect. I mean, those are your two options, right? I mean, and it's not just breaking our heart if you don't re-sign McCutchen. I mean, McCutchen has been one of our better hitters. I mean, he's a productive hitter. I feel more certain about him moving forward than I do Miguel Andújar. So I would love there to be some way that it could work because it is, to borrow a word, intriguing what he's doing, what he's done in AAA and what he's continued to do since he's been called up. I am always leery of September baseball. Especially when, we've been in a week of playing teams that are in last place. You just don't really know, who's given up, who's, baseball, one of the great things about it, it is the individual matchup. Nobody just wants to groove fastballs to somebody or anything, but still it's a long season. It grinds down on you, and who knows how sharp somebody is at this point. So if somebody goes on a roll, it's hard. It's easier to believe into now that they only bring up 2 guys. It used to be they bring up 13 guys, and you're hitting 400 against a bunch of guys that were from AA. But I get the feeling Andújar might go on somewhere else and carve himself out a major league career. It seems unlikely that it'll be here.
Let's kind of stick with the same theme, and on top of it, players who made a pretty big contribution today. So. We talked about Triolo and his 2 doubles, his 2 runs scored. We talked about Andújar and his homer off the foul pole. That gave the Pirates their first, 2 runs, essentially right there between the Peguero single to hit in Triolo and that bomb. But the Pirates in the bottom of the 7th, we'll get to how it got tied, but it's a tie ball game 2-2. Following yet another Jared Triolo double. Jason DeLay getting the start today, obviously day after a night game, he was going to get the start. He's been kind of getting that role, ever since Endy's been up. But Jason DeLay with 2 outs in the 7th, tie ball game, little bouncer down the third baseline, and the ball hits the side of third base, deflects into foul territory, right? Deflects into foul territory. Goes down towards the wall. Jared Triolo scores. Jason DeLay's got a double. At this point, Jason DeLay, you can't really ask for much more out of a backup catcher than what you've seen out of Jason DeLay. And today, he delivers the game-winning RBI hit against the New York Yankees, against Carlos Rodon, who actually, I think at that point, Rodon was out. Let me just double check. No, that was against Rodon. So
Rodon gave up that, right? And then,
that was the last at bat against Rodon. So Jason DeLay, just to kind of reel off some numbers here, he's hitting 253, 314 on base percentage, 357 slugging. Like he's not a world beater by any means at the plate, but he certainly holds his own. Seems to have a pretty good relationship with Mitch Keller. Been kind of his personal catcher here the last couple months of the year. Jason DeLay at this point, Doug, like I said, we're talking guys who made impacts today and their future with the team. Jason DeLay's got to be your backup catcher next year, right?
Oh, absolutely. No question.
You don't even look for someone.
Yeah, no question. If you hear that they're talking to someone, that makes absolutely no sense. He's the perfect backup. And especially on this team, he's the best friends with Brian Reynolds. He's best friend with your best player, and he's the personal catcher for your best pitcher. On top of that, like I said, he's hitting 253, which – right. Again, he doesn't have a lot of pop, doesn't have a lot of power, but he has delivered in some clutch situations. He's certainly not afraid of the moment. Yeah, there's nothing more. This is the perfect example that when a guy is put in the appropriate situation, that he can thrive. Now, if you ask him to start 4 or 5 games a week, that's not what he's going to get worn down. He's not going to do as well. But he is in the position that he should be in, being used exactly the way he should be being used, and he's thriving in it. And he's the backup catcher for the next, I don't care if it's 10 years at this point, right? I mean, he's not going to be expensive. He fits in with this team. He fits in with these players. Yeah, outstanding backup catcher.
I am with you. And you brought up a good point that he's really one of the very few guys on this roster who's being used in the role that you want to see them used in, right? There's so many people who are asked to be doing more than what they should be on this team, just from a lack of depth, a lack of ability from other guys. Right. So,
and lack of sensible management.
like just a quick example here. Like someone says, Connor Joe got to go. Like Connor Joe, I think, is a fine 4th outfielder on a major league team. But when Connor Joe's asked to start 5 times a week, he doesn't look that good. Right. So, Jason DeLay is thriving in a role that he's perfectly suited for. And like you mentioned, it's just kind of one of those things where you don't have to be a great baseball player to be useful. And Jason DeLay right now he's a very useful member of this team.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's doing right. Exactly what you expect. And more from what we've had out of our backup catchers, I don't know, in the last decade, right? I mean, since Cervelli was backing up Russell or something along those lines, it's been a while. Mm-hmm. And it's just refreshing to see a guy being asked to do exactly what he can do, and then watching him, reward you with doing maybe even a little more than you expected.
Yep. Let's shift gears here. So that's how the Pirates offense fared today, and kind of the key contributors. Let's shift focus. So we got Colin Selby out of the way, 2 scoreless innings to open for Andre Jackson, who was the bulk guy today. He looked great early on. I think, perfect 3rd inning, perfect 4th inning. He finally walked someone in the 5th, but 3 innings of just no-hit baseball from Andre Jackson. He goes out there in the 6th. He gives up a single and a double, but then settles right back in, gets the next 3 batters. And then you're feeling pretty good, 4 innings, 1 run off of Andre Jackson. Personally, I probably would have taken him out here. That we're going to have that conversation later, but he gets sent back out for the 7th. He gives up a homer to Anthony Volpe that ties the game at 2. Walks Oswaldo Peraza, and then he gives way to Ryan Borucki. But I think today was just sort of it was kind of both sides of Andre Jackson, right? You look at Andre Jackson, and we've gotten to see him now for the better half of a month and a half or so. So we've got a pretty good idea of what he's capable of, I think. Today showed you that he can be effective. The stuff's really good. He's good enough to get major league hitters out. He probably shouldn't be a starting pitcher. He probably shouldn't be seeing guys more than once through the order. He's probably a reliever, right? When you ask him to do too much, that's when he's going to get into trouble. But today, like I said, you saw both sides of it. You saw how he can be really effective, and then you saw how you probably don't want to overexpose him.
Yeah, I agree. I think I said this last Monday. The more you see of him, the more you see a very good, reliever. Given how the Pirates have had success with the opener this year, I could see him, being effective as the opener, a 3-inning type opener. But you're right. It seems that, and he's young. I don't want to, put guys into, just completely write them off. Maybe he gets a little better with his conditioning. Maybe he gets a little better with his focus, and he's able to, maybe he develops a little bit different, something of another pitch. I mean, I don't want to completely lock him down into it, but from what we've seen so far, he looks like he could at least be a very effective reliever. Because it does seem like he can come in and give you 2 perfect innings, right? And after that, you're not exactly sure what's going to happen. But you're right. We sort of saw the best of what he has, and then the not so good side. Again, not an entirely a tough lineup, but some very good hitters he had to navigate. And when he sort of got himself into trouble and then got out, that was nice to see, because that hasn't always been the case. And I'm moving forward, I want to, keep using them the way that you're using them the rest of this year. Bring them in training camp, and we'll see what happens. But there's room for him on this roster. It's probably not in the starting rotation.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think honestly, I think he can become what the Pirates hoped Dwayne Underwood Jr. would be.
Right.
Like, I feel like that's kind of like what he could be, right? Someone who you can throw in the 6th inning and he can give you 2 innings, or you can put him in the 5th when the starter doesn't really have all of it, and he can give you a 5th and a 6th inning and bridge the gap to the late inning guys. Like, I think that's probably like the perfect role for him. But right now he's just asked to have to do more than that.
Right.
So I am interested in seeing what he can do as a more just stereotypical reliever next year. I don't think the Pirates should in any way rely or pencil him into any sort of starting pitching depth this next season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, if he's going to earn his way into his rotation, he needs to do it sort of from the bullpen, right? By being effective for the first half of the season, and then maybe somebody gets hurt or something along those lines, and you're like, okay, stretch him out. But I think you're right. I mean, he's Will Crow, he's Dwayne Underwood, right? Mitch Keller throws 90 pitches, Oviedo throws 90 pitches through 5. You bring this guy in, and you get 2 out of him, and maybe even 3, or get 7 outs or something along those lines. Because he looks at this point without any further development, he looks like he could be very effective at that. So, yeah, but if it's fool's gold, I believe, if you're counting on him is to be the number 4 man in the rotation next year.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. So, but he goes 4 1/3 today. Ryan Borucki comes in, cleans up everything there in the 7th inning. I don't know how much more we can say about Ryan Borucki this season. He comes in when pitchers can't finish innings with guys on base, and he just gets the job done day in and day out.
Without any drama, he doesn't walk 2 guys and make it, and then get out of it. Nope. He comes in very efficiently, very effectively. I'll tell you this, at this point in the season, the 2 relievers I have most confidence in pitch today. Right now, the 2 guys I have the most confidence in are Majewski and Borucki. They come in, I'm not at all worried. Holderman comes in, I'm on the edge of my seat. Bednar comes in, I'm on the edge of my seat. And they do things that they give up doubles and walk guys and do things. These 2 guys comes in, and it doesn't matter who's up. Doesn't matter what the circumstances. They right now, and again, relievers are fungible, and one day they have it, one day they don't. These 2 guys have been very consistent, and it to me, it's a good sign. It's a sigh of relief when I see them coming in, and I look forward to every. I know Borucki. I don't know where it came from. I know we all rolled our eyes when he was signed, and then we rolled our eyes every single time he came in. And now suddenly, we've said it. We've said it on nearly, every show. There's no complaints. We can stop saying he can't do it. It's there, and it's not Chase DeYoung, right? It's not somehow he just got lucky. The advanced numbers support what he's doing, right? He is pitching extremely well. And he is a true, he's an asset, and he's one of the most reliable relievers we have right now.
Yep. You mentioned Majewski too, coming in, clean inning from him. He also, it was pretty impressive at bat he put together. He faced Aaron Judge, struck him out on an 0-2 fastball in the upper part of the zone, just kind of blew it right by him. So that was cool to see.
Yeah, sure.
And then David Bednar. David Bednar comes in. He does give up a double, but 3 strikeouts. He gets his 36th save on the year. His ERA is sitting now at 1.86. Doug, I think the rumors of David Bednar's demise were overblown. I know you said you're confident in Majewski, you're confident in Borucki. I'm still confident in Bednar, man. Like, the dude hasn't given up an earned run since August 25th. This is his 9th straight appearance of 0 earned runs. The guy just he's good. He's a good closer. He was one of the best relief pitchers in the game.
Yeah, 19 saves since the All-Star break. I think that leads the National League.
Mm-hmm.
He's not blowing people away like he does in the first half, but who cares, right? I mean, it's a save is a save is a save. You know, a scoreless frame is a scoreless frame. He makes me a little more nervous. I don't want to say I don't have confidence. It's just like, you're just, on the. I mean, how can you not have confidence? You're right. He's one of the best relievers in baseball. He is a legitimate all-star. He's not an all-star because we have to have one. By rule, every team has one. So no, he has earned it. He's not the last guy added to the roster. He's one of the first relievers you think of putting on there. He's fun to watch. But yeah, and I've been part of he's fat and out of shape and he better get it together. But I mean, at this point, you can't argue with the results, and it's a results business.
Yep. I agree with you though. So Pirates pick up a win though. That's their 70th win of the season. They sit at 70-80, 4-3 on the week. Think you'll take that. They do salvage this last game against the Yankees. They are off tomorrow. Before where do we head? Cubs 3-game series at home. No, 3-game series on the road against the Cubs. So Pirates have a chance to be spoilers here for the next few weeks, facing a bunch of teams that are in the wild card hunt.
Yeah, everybody they play now at this point is in. It's like Cubs, Phillies, Cincinnati.
Cubs, Phillies, Marlins, Reds. Yeah. They're everybody they play going from here on out is in it. So should be a fun end of the season. Like I said, 70-80. They still have a chance to finish with a semi respectable record.
No reason they can't get to 74, 75 wins, which is, I think, I predicted 79, but I think most everybody had them in that 72, 73, 74 range.
Yeah, I think I had them at 73. So, but they can beat that. Like they can get to 74, 75.
Yeah, and how we got there is obviously strange, and but I keep having an argument with someone says, yeah, but it's all based on that 20-8. Throw out the 20-8. I'm like, yeah, but if you throw out June, right? I mean, right, the terrible lose. So, I mean, they've been a little over 500 now for almost 100 games, right? I mean, maybe it's 90 or so, but So, I don't know. Nothing matters unless, as I said, look, they can get 74, 75 this year. The key to that is they got to follow up next year with, going from 62 to 70 is not that big a deal. That's the easier jump in win totals. It's now getting up to that 85, 82, 83 even is the hard part. So, but yeah, we got 12 games left. They should be fun. The schedule did us a favor. They don't play against, opposite the Steelers tomorrow night. So, the Cubs, I hate the Cubs. So, and the Cubs have crushed us all year. Let's go take the series at least from.
Let's do it. So like Doug said, there off day tomorrow. So we'll be back with a post-game show on Tuesday. DiNardo and I will be live tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. with another episode of Starbucks. So tune in there. But other than that, that's all I got from today. Good game. Pirates win 3-2. You got anything else to add, Doug?
No. It's a fun game. It was a good week. And we'll see you guys Tuesday.
Sounds good. Thank you all for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting, all that stuff. Like, subscribe. We'll see you later.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.